Well, and a lot of times before we come into motherhood, we may have even already done a lot of work on ourselves,
Yeah.
right? Like for people whose traumas happened long before they became a mother, like they may feel like, oh, I've actually been coping with this just fine. But
Hmm.
it's fascinating how motherhood can bring out both the best and the worst in us.
That is
And
so
it can
true.
highlight those exact spots that we still need some progress in.
Yes, yes, that is so true. Oh yeah. It just, I don't know, there's some buttons that get pushed when we become mothers that don't get pushed at any other times in our life that are just, there's just that, especially when you're a new mom, those insecurities. I can remember, I can go back and just, you want to do everything right. The baby can't talk to you, so you don't understand what's going on. And just all the newness of it.
The newness of it, the sheer fact that you're not at your best in those first months because you're
That's
not
true.
sleeping, you're not eating, your body feels weird, like all these different aspects of the early stages of motherhood. You may be in physical pain, you may be just in the pain of having not having a good night's sleep and God knows how
Hmm.
long.
Yeah.
And you're just not functioning the best. So your ability to even function as well as you could have before has gone down while your new triggers have gone up. And so it's
Yeah.
not surprising to me at all how many moms struggle in that first honestly, the first couple of years, because there's so much transition that happens, like whether it's your first baby or your 12th baby. But
Yeah.
like, I think also, especially in that first baby, because your whole world starts to shift from I am me to I am mom. And that is a big shift.
That's a big shift. Yeah, yeah. Oh, God, I remember those. I remember those, and just not sleeping. The first 6 weeks, I think he had me up every single hour. But the blessing was after 6 weeks, he started sleeping through the night, just literally
Oh,
overnight,
well, that's
overnight.
lovely.
But the first 6 weeks, oh my gosh, I can just remember, he would cry. I had a routine. I'd keep the lights out. I would get up and, nurse him on one side and kind of, nurse him on the other and try to keep him tired. And, I was so tired that I literally, when I would get up, I would put my hand over his head to protect him because in case I bumped into something because I was so tired. And
Yeah.
just, the things that my body was going through, after having a baby, a little of
Mm-hmm.
the, baby blues that came along.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he cried and I couldn't comfort him, it would just spiral me out. And then I had
Yeah.
a really hard
Well,
labor and delivery.
that was one of the things I was going to say is then you add on to that, even a smooth labor and delivery is actually a traumatic experience for what our bodies go through.
Yeah.
If you then have a traumatic labor and delivery, if you have, say, an emergency C-section or something goes wrong with either you or baby, then that's a new trauma that happens in that moment. And if
Hmm.
you have any history of trauma from before then, all of that can get reactivated from that sense of feeling out of control and, you know, pain and fear and all of these pieces that can come up in that moment can reactivate what you thought were healed things. And all of a sudden you're like, why am I thinking about that thing from 10 years ago?
I know. And it's like, I know for me, I felt like, okay, I'm a mom now, so I'm supposed to know how to do this. I'm just supposed to know how to do this. It should come automatic. And, you know, I had, I can't think of I can't think of her last name right now. I had a doctor, a doula on my podcast, and she talks about the fourth trimester. And she
Mm-hmm.
talks about the support that the moms need, in that fourth trimester. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such an untapped, you know,
Mm-hmm.
serious what am I trying to say, time,
Mm-hmm.
of a new mother is that fourth trimester. It's really interesting. But I remember thinking, oh, I should know what to do. I should just automatically know what to do. I became a mom. But it's not like
Right.
that. It's not
Yeah,
like that.
well, and there's really very few other things in the entire world that we expect somebody to be able to do perfectly as they start to learn it. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't even take a 10-year-old out back and throw him a football and assume he's going to throw you a perfect spiral. You wouldn't put somebody in a operating room and say do a surgery when they haven't been to med school. But we plop women into motherhood and go, be a mom. And we put this pressure on ourselves to have it all figured out from day one.